just wanted to give a little introduction for Kelly. Kelly is the president and CEO of Avivo. She grew up in Belmont, Wisconsin, and graduated from the University of Wisconsin Stout. Her degree was in vocational rehabilitation, and that's what led her to the Twin Cities. She has a 33-year career working for nonprofit organizations. Kelly, you must have started when you were a child. And she worked for 20 years at Goodwill Easter Seals, leading their missions services. And then she worked for Common Bond Communities, leading their housing with services work, and where she learned more about affordable housing development. And during the years that she worked for these organizations, she did partner with Avivo, and she always admired their mission and their accomplishments. So now she has her dream job. For 8 years, she's been working at Avivo, and they support the comprehensive services organizations that have that, and it has a tremendous impact on our community. And you can tell she just has a real heart for helping people. So I want to introduce Kelly Matter. Thanks for being here, Kelly.
Thank you, Susan, for that really kind and generous introduction. I really appreciate it. And thanks to all of you. I'm so happy to be with you this morning to talk a little bit more about what Avivo does in Avivo Village, but also just to thank Colonial for your generosity to our organization, your particular interest in Avivo Village, and what you have already done to support the men and the women living at Avivo Village. And it truly is. I really appreciate the prayer that you shared, Susan. Our mission and why we exist is to serve the least of these. That is Avivo's privilege, and that is our honor, is to have impact in people's lives and people who don't get support many times from other organizations. So thank you. I appreciate it. I know I sent a couple documents ahead of time. I will just keep this very conversational. I'll tell you more, but if you have a question at any point, please just jump in and ask. I can send a PowerPoint after this that kind of goes through what I've talked about, but wanted to just be casual and thankful, honestly. So Avivo is an amazing organization. And as Susan said, I admired it and I partnered with this organization and many of the people that work here. And like our organization and like your congregation, it is about the people that make it up and their hearts for service. And I think this last year has shown me more than ever that we have got an amazing team of people with a heart for service that care deeply about all people. And during this last incredibly difficult year, this last incredibly difficult week, Avivo thrived. And we served more people than we've ever served. And we kept going and we continued to serve people in person because our community needed us to be there and needed us to be there in person as well. And we did it in smart and safe ways, but we were absolutely called upon to do more than we've ever done. And that is what led us to the work at Avivo Village. But I'll do a quick overview. Avivo, we're about a 63-year-old organization. And we exist. The only reason we exist is to enhance well-being through recovery and career advancement while working to end homelessness. We serve, about 13,000 people every single year. We have a long-term vision of that we help create communities that are free of inequities and free of inequities in the area that we can have impact, and that is in around ending homelessness, that is economic disparities, and that is health disparities experienced by the people that we serve. But we started in 1960 as the original vocational evaluation center in the state of Minnesota, and really one of the first in the country. So Avivo was innovative even in our start. At the time, we served primarily people with physical disabilities, where we gave them an opportunity to try on work and see if they could work in their communities. We were founded by business leaders and parents who had adult children with disabilities. And as parents were aging, they were concerned about what would happen to their children and could they be employed and and be self-sufficient long term. And so that is where our work started. We still do that work, but we do it in the community with business partners. We do still serve people with disabilities, individuals experiencing homelessness. Our services grew based on the need in our community. And we did start providing addiction services, substance use recovery services in the 70s. And we grew to provide intensive community-based mental health services. And then we also created a school. We are a licensed, and not a traditional school by any means, but we are a licensed post-secondary school. We partner with businesses and we design short-term curriculum so that people can get trained in skills that are in demand in today's economy, earn some credentials with Avivo that employers recognize, and credentials that will transfer to a MnSCU institution, a Minnesota school, a state college, or 2-year or 4-year degree school, so that they can continue to advance their education. But as you know by the work that we're doing at Avivo Village, Avivo serves individuals who are extremely poor. 95% of who we serve live at or below 200% of poverty, and that is about just under $12,000 a year. So almost everyone we serve is surviving on less than $12,000 per year as an individual, or as a family of 4, that's around $24,000 annually. So hard to imagine making ends meet on that little bit of money. We serve a very diverse population. Our staff and who we serve speak about 20 different languages. About 70% of who we serve are considered BIPOC, Black, Indigenous, and people of color. And so we've been in the community a long time. Our mission is about responding to community needs. And over the last several years, I think, there's 3 things that we probably all read about in the paper. And it's changing with this pandemic, but we've read about the opioid epidemic, which is, the pandemic is only making the opioid epidemic that much greater. We've read about the crisis of affordable housing and the crisis of homelessness that continues to grow, and we see it more than we've ever seen it with the popping up of encampments and people living outside, literally living outside. And prior to the pandemic and really post-pandemic, the other issue that Avivo addresses is the labor shortage. Prior to the pandemic, Minnesota had fewer skilled workers than they had jobs available. And that is going to change again. And Avivo is gearing up for post-pandemic when the economy booms again and employers need a skilled and trained workforce. But much of 2020 was focused on Avivo Village and creating an environment for individuals, specifically for individuals who had been experiencing chronic unsheltered homelessness, meaning people were living outdoors. Avivo got involved and started in that work in 2018. There was an encampment in South Minneapolis, and maybe many of you drove by on Franklin Avenue in Hiawatha. It was a growing encampment, close to 200 or more people living in tents right along Franklin Avenue that was smack dab between 2 Avivo offices. And, our team couldn't do their job without driving by this. And much like we've been talking about in Avivo's mission, we had a team of people who could not just drive by and not do something about it. So Avivo started respectfully going into the encampment, meeting people where they were at, developing relationships, providing support in the form of water, Gatorade, socks, oranges, and developing those relationships over time, and then brought in the services that we can provide, which is connecting people to housing. We have a team that last year placed about 900 people who had experienced homelessness into permanent housing. And they started doing that work at the encampment in 2018, and that fostered a relationship with Red Lake Nation. Many of the people living there were their family. their brothers and sisters were members of the Red Lake Band and other Native communities. So we fostered a partnership and a relationship where they challenged us to place 100 individuals that were living there in 6 months. And Avivo placed 106 individuals in just under 6 months, and we haven't stopped from there. So this last summer, you may have seen or read about the Powderhorn Park encampment. When that came about, we again responded and met people, um, got to know them. We were asked to do the count, if you will, to see, how many people are there, what are their demographics, what service needs do they have, and so we did that work and really got to know people again, got to understand why they were living outside versus in a traditional shelter or other environments. One other thing I'll just quickly share, and then I'll talk more specifically about Aviva Village. The other thing that Aviva was called to do last May, when George Floyd was murdered, and the unrest and going on in our community, there was another homeless encampment that was very close to where the civil unrest and fires and damage was being done, and we were called and asked to move some individuals from that encampment into a hotel, and our team was able to do that in a matter of 3 hours. We found 2 hotels that would house about 80 individuals for a period of time so that they could be safe while there was civil unrest in our community. And that was the first of what has been 4 now initiatives that Avivo calls Hotel to Home. So we helped all of those individuals connect to permanent housing, and then we filled in behind them with another group of individuals, and we've done that 4 times now as things have occurred. This winter when it got incredibly cold, Avivo Village was not ready, and we did 2 more hotel to home initiatives, and all of that has led us to Avivo Village. And that work started before Avivo with a group of community organizers, individuals who had experienced homelessness, to put together a new idea of a service-rich, trauma-informed, low-barrier shelter. And that group was looking for an operator, someone like an Avivo that had some capacity to bring experience, staff, resources, and that long-term ability to do something of this nature as well. So Avivo got involved in then the development of Avivo Village. And I know I did send a handout. I'll quickly run through though. Avivo Village is a emergency low barrier shelter for 100 individuals. Each individual, we have 100 private tiny homes so that every adult gets their own private space, and is organized like a village. And we will have a video that I will share with all of you that I hope to have done soon, which is a tour of the village. The streets are being named. Each unit has numbers like you or I have on our home that designates their unit. The community is set up in 4 pods of 25, if you will, and those are neighborhoods as well. They're they're colored by neighborhood as well. 24-hour staff, 24-hour security, COVID safe now and probably into the for foreseeable future. It is different than a transitional shelter. There are a lot of wraparound services by design. It's a very service-rich environment, as I mentioned. It's low barrier access. And what we mean by that is that, again, in talking with people and what are the things that prevent someone from being in a traditional shelter, and there's a couple things that, one is pets. We allow pets, domestic pets, I should say. The strangest pet we've had is a macaw. And we've had a lizard, but it is more dogs and cats. No tigers allowed. But sometimes pets are the only companion that a person has left, and any of us that are pet lovers, myself included, can't imagine and wouldn't give up our pet. So we allow pets. We allow people to define family how they want it and can move their family in. It is only for adults, but it is men, it is women. People can define family as they define family as well. It's trauma informed, which means a variety of things. One is that we train all of our staff. We know that every single person coming in has experienced trauma, and we train our staff to provide trauma informed services. And that is everything from the lighting to the pictures on the wall to how we interact and talk with people. It is also, we recognize that addiction is a disease, and we know that people are going to use alcohol and drugs. It's not something that people, we don't allow selling. We don't allow it to be used in public spaces. Um, but people have been using, and they are going to use, and we are going to be there to support them and protect them and treat it like a disease, and help people connect to treatment that Avivo provides, or that others provide, as they are ready to make that decision as well. And the other piece is to just really work hard to build a sense of community. COVID makes it a little difficult right now. We do have a nurse on staff 5 days a week. So everyone, and that's a phenomenal partnership with Sage Prairie. So everyone is COVID tested when they come in. We're able to, quarantine or isolate anyone that is positive, and everyone has been vaccinated as well. All of our staff have been vaccinated, and all 64 residents who are living there right now have been vaccinated against COVID as well. So we've designed in great community space. It's a beautiful, I guess I shouldn't call a warehouse beautiful, but the warehouse itself was absolutely perfect for putting 100 homes in, arranging them like communities, and then having extra space. There is an indoor basketball court, lounge area for watching TV, community space to bring family in, a large space for meditation or yoga, community meetings, a large space with a screen for watching movies, bringing in speakers. The whole community together did watch the final verdict on Tuesday. They watched it together, and that was a tough day for individuals, just the anxiety and the fear that people were facing, and behaviors were, kind of showing up because of that fear and that anxiety, and coming together and watching the verdict together, and being there for each other was tremendously healing for that group. And then, our vice president brought her new puppy in as well, and that, was part of kind of the healing that evening also. And so our team is able to be responsive to the needs at the time. So it is a unique environment. I want to just again say thank you for the involvement, especially Susan, and I think Vicki, you are on. Yes, Vicki's on this call as well, and others from Colonial who have donated literally 100 move-in kits for individuals. And I know, and the move-in kits are comprehensive, and they were expensive, and they make a huge difference in the lives of people who are moving into Avivo Village, sometimes literally with a garbage bag. A black Glad leaf bag is all they have. And so to move in and have a basket of new towels, washcloths, snacks, water, shower, flip-flops, a board, a note board, so they can write notes on their neighbors' doors, etc., etc. It is incredibly meaningful, and something, one more thing that they have. So it's a very big deal, and you all made it look easy, and I know it's not easy, because we coordinate a lot of this work, and a lot of us have done it as well. So it's not easy. It takes time, and it's an expense as well. So I just really, from the bottom of our heart, thank you.